Good afternoon. Today, I am here on my patio getting ready to embark on a conversation with my girlfriend, Crystal. And our topic today is going to be You Will Be My Witness and being a walking testimony. She is going to talk to us about what it means being a testimony for God and how it has affected her life. Okay. um, Deep conversation. She's been a dear friend of mine for a very long time. We actually been knowing each other since I guess junior high or high school, and just growing up in the same neighborhood. um, what it means to be a testimony to God. It can be a way in which God has shown up in a person's life. You know, Jesus instructs us to pray and to witness on his behalf. And you can find that in John 17, where he says, just as you have sent me into the world, I am sending them into the world to witness on behalf of the goodness, the good news of Jesus, and how God shows favor in our lives. So the next segment that you will see will be me and Crystal Kemp is her name, having a patio conversation about her testimony. Okay, stay tuned. So this is Crystal Kemp. She is a member of the Alpha chapter of Chi Eta Phi.
No, Road
No,
Chapter, Chi Eta Phi Sorority Incorporated.
Road chapter.
Road Chapter.
Okay, why I got Alpha?
I
It
have
was in
no
the text
idea.
message.
No.
I have to show it to you.
Who put that in there?
I don't know. So
I,
road chapter, road
Road
chapter.
Chapter, maybe you were thinking Alpha because Alpha means first. And
But I
so,
didn't write the text.
yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, I have to show it to you.
Okay.
Uh, so anyway, Chi, am I saying it right?
Chi.
Okay, Chi Eta Phi sorority.
Mm-hmm.
You're not at BJC anymore, right? Yes and
Um,
no.
Kind of, sort of. I will be just here and
Okay.
there. I'll be doing some PRN work there soon.
Okay. So registered nurse.
Yes.
Okay. Married. How
Yes.
many years?
Oh, let's see. It'll be 8 years coming up.
Really, Crystal? Girl,
Mm-hmm.
time just stands still for me because I
eight
sure would have
years.
said three.
No.
Some friend I am, right?
No. Not
But
at
it do it.
all.
You all are just so lovely together. You all act
Thank
like
you.
newlyweds still. So
Thank
that's why
you.
I'm like
Yeah.
three-ish.
We still kind of date a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's good. That's what we're supposed to do. Board member of Butterfly Beginnings. Tell me
I
about
am.
that. What's your position on the board?
Well, currently, I'm more of a community person for
Okay.
the board because I am community in my organization,
Mhm.
Chi Eta Phi Sorority Incorporated, which is a professional nurses sorority. So I like community things. So I work as a community person for Butterfly Beginnings.
Okay.
Hmm
Okay. Good. And how long has the sorority been around?
Since 1932. And
1932.
my chapter has been around, which is the first chapter in the Middle West region since 1956.
Okay, 1956. Oh
Hmm
my God. And what do you all do in the community?
Well, the majority of the time we like to educate on um, issues that affect African Americans. So diabetes education, high
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of kidney disease,
Mm-hmm.
those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly that.
Okay.
Hmm
All right. So busy. Busy in the community with
I
your sorority
am.
and with Butterfly
I
Beginnings.
am.
And what we are here to talk about today is you are a survivor.
I am.
Yes, you are. So
I
our
am.
topic today is you will be my witness. You
Mhm.
will be my witness. A
Mhm.
walking and living testimony,
Uh
right?
huh. Uh huh.
Okay, so with all the stuff that you said, I did some background. Like I said, I took notes. Wanted to really just kind of hone in on the type of person that you are.
Okay.
So tell us what I didn't read off my paper. Tell us who Crystal is.
Crystal is, first of all, I'm a Cancer.
I love cancers.
Yeah, I know. That's because cancers are loving. So as I'm a child of God, and my who I am is mostly loving, caring, kind-hearted person. I care about people, which is probably why I'm a nurse. Yeah.
And we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
It can be said that from a spiritual perspective, nursing has often been viewed as an example of Jesus Christ caring for the sick. Have you heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I consider it my ministry.
Yeah, and it is.
I do.
Definitely is because of who you are. I always call you. I don't know if I've told you this before, but you my private nurse.
Yeah.
Because you helped me.
Yes.
Yes. In a very
I know.
yes.
And I didn't mind doing it because
sure did
I
not.
like being private nurse.
Answer the phone. Didn't have to. When you on your honeymoon?
I don't think I was. I think I was at home. No,
you
I
all were
wasn't.
newlyweds.
Yeah, but
you said you all been married 8 years, and it's been about 7 or 8 years.
I wasn't on my honeymoon because I wouldn't answer the phone.
Well, okay, yeah, but I mean, I ain't talking about destination honeymoon. I'm talking about like after the fact, still, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Because that happened like at homecoming, so around October. You all got married
in
September.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was around that time. Like, this girl didn't have to answer the phone, and it stuck out to my mind.
Well, why wouldn't I answer the phone? You called me, so why wouldn't I answer the phone?
That's so sweet. I love you. I love you so much. But it says some might say that God has designed nurses to have the innate desire to care for other people and that they are equipped with God-given gifts. And I have to testify, I do believe that you are that person.
Thank you.
And can you believe that I wanted to be a nurse?
Yeah.
You can't believe it?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, because you like people too. I mean, although you consider yourself an introvert, you like people because of the profession you're in. You have to like people somewhat. I mean, you have to like people somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah. You might not like all the things that nurses do, but yeah, I could believe you would want to be a nurse.
I like serving.
Yeah.
I like serving people. But I did. My first initial thing was to be a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse until I saw a bed sore.
So much more to nursing than seeing a bed sore or blood or needles or any of that.
I just could not do it. So he did not give me that.
Well, I'm so glad he gave you what he gave you because I couldn't do what you do. Because, honey, my hair needs to be on point.
You are so funny. I love your hair. I love your feathers. Okay, so let's start off with a scripture. Romans 12:13 contributes to the needs of the saints and seek to show hospitality. You do that.
I do.
And you do it well.
Thank you.
You do it
God
well.
is good.
You've been married 8 years, right?
I have.
He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from God. And when I say you guys are so cute and still acting like newlyweds, because he ain't ashamed to be walking around with them little corny husband-wife T-shirts on that you have him wearing.
I don't have him wearing those. He chooses to wear them. I promise you.
And he's such a sweetheart about
it.
He
likes it.
I prayed for a good woman. What did he say? And he sent me a guy. What did he say?
I prayed to God for a good wife, and he sent me you.
Yes, and he wears that proudly.
He does.
So sweet.
Yeah, I know.
He is. He's so sweet. You all are so crazy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and then the part about your sorority, 1 Peter 4:10, as each has received a gift, which you have, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's very grace. And the reason why I'm pointing out these scriptures because you say, I am a child of God.
I am.
And you are living the scriptures.
I am.
You really
trying my best.
Yes, you are. Not perfect.
Not perfect. Not at all.
But you can't tell.
Girl, yes, you can.
You a perfect nurse.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
I would.
That's because you've only experienced me in one way.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure everybody else that have experienced you would say the same thing.
I get some folks together too. I get some folks together.
That's part of the job.
It is.
That's part of the job. So, tell me some things about yourself. I'm going to ask you, what was your biggest failure?
Oh my goodness, I've had many. I've had many.
What was the biggest?
And the biggest I would say is, when I was in nursing school, I didn't do well. I wasn't. I'm good at the bedside. I'm good at what I do, as in making people feel comfortable. But in the books, that wasn't for me. Studying was hard. Studying came.
You wouldn't
difficult.
know that. Well, you know how they say, those that can't do and those that do can't. So, for example, like the best football coaches couldn't play football, but they can coach.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
hairdressers that really can't do hair, they
Fifty.
teach, but they
Mm,
ain't doing. You heard that
mm.
before?
I don't
I've
know if
heard that.
I don't know if I've heard that.
I don't like that saying because I do both.
Yeah,
And I think I do both very well. I
you
have a
do.
gift
You
for
do.
teaching. I love teaching. I just don't like people just hanging on my word.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to give people education and send them where to go find it. So you don't
Okay.
have to be on,
I can
hang. Well,
appreciate that.
Stephanie said, no, no.
But you know what? When I think about failing, is it really a failure? You
Right.
know, it might look like a failure to people who are on the outside looking in,
Mhm.
but if you can't learn from that, then
Mhm.
was it really a failure? So although I failed in school, and of course I made it through because now I'm an RN,
Right.
I'm very successful at it. So did I really fail?
Right. Right. So that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't know that you didn't do well. You
Right.
talking about letter grades,
Right.
but you
Exactly.
did succeed in what
Right.
you needed to succeed in, and I thank God
Right.
for you. So what was your learning experience
Um, to persevere.
to persevere?
That
Mhm.
I lived through perseverance.
Okay.
And even so with mine, when you call me a miracle, that was me persevering through hard times
Mhm.
and persevering. I was in school again for my master's degree as a nurse practitioner at the time that happened.
Mhm.
And I just had to persevere and keep pushing through.
Mhm.
And although I obtained my master's degree, the certification that came after my master's, I didn't obtain that.
Okay.
And so if I just believe that when people push through, they can make it through to the other side. And what
Mhm.
God has for you is for you. That thing that I was pushing through to get to,
Mhm.
it wasn't for me.
Right.
And it didn't stop anything.
Right.
God just opened up another door.
Tell me what people misunderstand about you. Do you have any misunderstandings?
They
You
think
know,
I'm
maybe people.
soft and sweet, and I'm not. I'm nice. I'm nice. But I'll get don't think I'm a pushover just because I'm nice. Because I will get you together.
She say they think I'm soft and sweet and nice
And a
and
pushover.
a pushover.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
I'm trying to visualize that.
I don't. You don't think I'm sweet and nice?
I've been knowing you
Yeah,
forever.
right.
I think you crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and funny
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a situation where I've
My
seen
buttons
you.
have
Yeah,
been
where
pushed.
your button's been pushed.
Mhm.
I don't think I've seen that.
You
Do I
haven't.
think that you can? You say I haven't.
You haven't.
Yeah. Do I think
Mm-mm.
that you can get there? Yeah, because
Of
I tell
course.
people that too.
Yeah.
Please don't drive me. Let me
Right.
drive myself there. Because
Mhm.
once if you driving Miss Daisy,
It's going.
mm,
It's not gonna be pretty.
mm,
It's just not.
right.
And I
So
don't particularly like that because that means that people have control over you, and I don't want anybody to have control over my emotions that way.
yeah, I can see that, but sometimes
Excuse me.
that battle is not ours
Mhm.
because I do a lot to try not to go there.
Mhm.
Um, but then it's like they want me to go there. So then when I get there, it take a whole lot for
To
me to come
bring that.
back.
I
Yeah, so and
agree.
it's not like well that battle's not mine.
Right.
But to unleash, it's really an unleashing. I don't
Mhm.
think you have an unleashing.
You don't think so? See,
No, I don't think you got an
one of the
unleashing.
things that people
Get upset,
misunderstand.
yeah, but unleashing. I don't think you know what unleashing mean when I'm talking about it with
What
regards
you
to
mean?
me.
What you
But we ain't
mean?
talking about me.
Well, what does unleashing mean? Because it might mean the same for me. Because there's a saying, and I don't want to make it sound bad. Once you tell you you're with me, ain't no coming back. There's just no coming back from it. And I know God forgives it, but and I do too. But it takes me a long time
You
to,
go have static. Okay. A long time to come back around.
yeah, did I
Okay.
fix it?
No, it's there. You just
Okay,
touching it, so you're
okay.
gonna have static when you're talking. It's okay.
Is it
It's okay.
okay? Is it
Yeah.
sitting the way it should be
Yeah.
sitting?
It's fine.
Okay.
Relax, girl.
But I don't want it to have static.
No, you were touching it. So you
Okay.
know, like when you touch a mic.
So now it won't have static.
Right.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
You was touching. Is it comfortable?
It's okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So I don't want to ask you this question.
Mhm.
But if you can be remembered for one thing, here's one I want to ask you. What would it be?
Um, that's a good question. That's really good. And I thought about this.
Mm-hmm. You couldn't think of anything? I know what
Yeah.
I would remember about you, but I'll
t-
say that to last. No, you can't take mine. I'm not going to reveal mine.
I
One
hope
thing.
I hope that I encourage someone,
Mm-hmm.
be an encourager.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because of my medical situation. I've had to talk to people who were in the same situation, and
Mm-hmm.
I hope that I encourage them.
Okay, so let's
Hmm.
get to that because
Okay.
that's what we're here for.
Okay.
You are a survivor. You had a stroke.
Hmm.
So let's talk about what we do when we just going through life, just lifing,
Hmm.
and everything is doing well, and then all of a sudden our bodies just turn on us.
It's exactly what happened.
Just turn on us for no reason, out of the
Yep.
blue.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
So back in 2011, I found myself in a situation where I had a stroke. Thank goodness it was recognized early. I'm a nurse. I recognized it early. Went to the hospital. Um,
So what did you recognize?
I recognized that my arm drew up to my body.
Okay.
That I was when I my arm drew up to my body. I looked at it and I said, "Oh!"
So it
And
literally
then I
just
was just
did like
it
this.
literally did that.
Uh-huh.
And I was drooling at the same time that I was looking at my arm. So I see drool running down the side of my body over here, and my leg was straightened out to a point where I couldn't bend it.
Okay.
So at that point, I'm trying to tell it what to do, and it won't do anything. So I'm paralyzed on my left side. It will not move. I went to the hospital.
So you weren't married then.
I was
You
not.
were single.
Hmm.
You stayed at home by yourself?
No, I was with my mom lives with me.
Okay.
So my mom and my nephew were there, and
Okay.
I told them I was having a stroke. They could see it, but I told them to call 911,
Okay.
and they did. And when I got to the hospital, I told the doctor, "Look, I'm having a stroke. I need to get some TPA
Uh-huh.
because I'm a nurse. I know what I need." He's like, "Okay, just wait a minute. I
Was
need to make
CPA a
sure."
medicine?
I'm sorry, TPA is a clot busting medication. I didn't
Okay.
even know if I was having a clot, but I
Okay.
know that when you get this particular medicine, if you get it soon enough, that it could turn things around for you.
Okay.
And so I went in the hospital telling the doctor that I needed that medicine. Of course, I had to get an MRI first to make sure there wasn't a brain bleed. There was not a brain bleed. I got the medication. They shipped me down to the place where I work at Barnes Jewish Hospital. All my friends recognized me. And after 12 hours of being paralyzed and 3 days in the hospital, I was able to walk out the hospital.
12 hours of being paralyzed and being
Hmm.
in the hospital.
3 days in the
3
hospital.
days in the hospital. And they didn't give you any medicine until after the MRI and all that stuff. So you
Hmm.
still
Hmm.
experiencing
Hmm.
because it's not something that just happened to
Have
go.
right.
It's a
It's still it's
duration.
yeah, it lasted. And as a matter of fact, when I get an MRI now, if I don't mention to the doctor that I've had a stroke, they are like, "You have a spot in your brain. You need to be seen." I'm like, "I know that's an old stroke."
So, okay, so a stroke will leave a scar. It
Mhm.
leaves something for people to know,
Mhm.
other doctors and stuff to know. See, I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Mhm.
My dad had a stroke,
Hmm.
and he had a stroke while he was driving,
Oof.
and he crashed. They had to pry him out of the car, and it was the most terrifying thing in the world.
Absolutely.
So you handled this without panic because you are a nurse.
I don't know if that's the reason. I don't know if that's the reason I
Okay.
handled it without panic, or if it's
Are you
because
cold?
actually I'm okay right now.
Okay.
The sun is on the
I
sun
want to
is
make sure
on
you
me.
comfortable.
The
Okay,
sun is
okay.
on me. So actually I'm okay. I'll take that off. Thank you. Thank you for that. I don't know if I panic because I'm a nurse or if I don't know what I tapped into to calm me down at the moment.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what that was.
So tell me what went through your mind after they released you from. Well, let's talk about when you were actually 3 days in the hospital.
Mhm.
What went through your mind?
I was like, really? A stroke? Honestly, I was more um, baffled than anything because there was no reason for me to have a stroke. I didn't have high blood pressure. I didn't have a clot. I didn't have high cholesterol. I had none of the things that people would say are your typical symptoms that would bring on a stroke. So I was like, really, God, a stroke?
Hmm.
But later on, I realized that that stroke wasn't for me.
Mhm.
That stroke was for
Mhm.
somebody else.
Mhm.
It's for me to give a
Mhm.
testimony and share. And as you know, or maybe you don't know, I've shared this with so many people. I've been in the Post Dispatch. I've been in St. Louis American.
Mhm.
Um, so many interviews from people about my stroke, especially during Stroke Awareness Month.
Wow, no, I
You didn't
didn't know
know?
that.
Yeah.
So when you're in it, because
hmm
we might have some viewers out there that their body just attacked them, just
hmm
betrayed them,
Yeah.
and you are or seem to be more spiritually mature, where someone that's not can feel like God has just forsaken them,
Mm.
or their life is going to be different, or
hmm
not being able to accept that. So what would you say to somebody like that? Because while you're in it, like I said, 3 days in the hospital, laying in the bed,
hmm
life was this way. Now it's like possibly can be that way because you didn't know you was gonna be like how you are
I didn't.
now.
I didn't. And as a matter of fact, I went through a process where when I saw somebody who obviously had a stroke, I grieved for them because I'm thinking that could have been me. I could have been walking around with my arm bent up or
Mhm.
walking on a cane. However, when people look at me now, they have no idea
Mhm.
that I've had a stroke. But what I would say to those people is that you have to really, let me go to my scientific brain.
Okay.
When you think certain thoughts, when you think positive, when you think about things that are good instead of dwelling on things that are bad, you have good outcomes.
Mhm.
And that's, I don't know if that's necessarily science, but it's been proven that when you have positive thoughts, positive things happen.
Mhm.
You can't dwell, I would say to someone who's in that situation, don't dwell on what you see because things can turn around in an instant.
Mhm.
Think positive thoughts, write down things that are positive, keep positive affirmations because
Mhm.
you don't know what the future holds.
Mhm.
And if your mind is telling you bad things, then it's it's highly likely that
You already defeated.
you're already defeated and you're going to go down that path of I'm not going to do well. And that's with any healthcare outcomes, any outcomes in life general. You have to change your mindset.
So no darkness. You had
Of
no.
course I had
You did.
darkness.
So
Yeah,
how
I'm
did
human.
you navigate through despair and hope? How did you
Uh,
navigate?
I called on God a lot, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Because during that time, I was the only one working. My mom and my nephew lived in the house, and I'm the breadwinner. Um, I was off from work for 6 months.
Wow.
Every day I was thinking, I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my house. God, why would you let me lose my house? Why would you let my mama be out on the street? I didn't care about me. I care about my mama.
Mhm.
I don't want her to be out on the street because she can't take care of herself.
Mhm.
And so I just had to really cry out to God and ask Him to find a way, make it work it out for me. And during that time, He worked it out because I started receiving checks that I didn't know where they were coming from. I started receiving checks from people who just wanted to give me money.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah,
Oh.
I started receiving money from my job. I didn't know I had that type of insurance because I
Mhm.
never had to use it before. I
Mhm.
started receiving checks from my job, and I would call I remember calling the mortgage company saying to them, listen, I'm not working. I can't pay these bills and I don't know what's going to happen. And they were like, ma'am, we can't do anything until you can't pay your bills.
Mhm.
I was like, but I'm
Well, I'm
telling you,
telling you, I can't.
I'm telling you, I
Right.
can't, but I'm
So
up
the
to date
base,
on my bills. And they like,
right?
ma'am,
They basically saying until you miss a
ma'am,
payment.
you can't. Let's not talk about this. I'm trying to be proactive. They're like, ma'am, you have to miss
Right.
payments first.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh well, I ain't missing no payments.
Right. So basically you had 3 months to where it's,
I
you
don't
know,
know if I even had that.
well,
I don't
well,
know if I had
well,
3 months.
technically, because they can't just put you out, you gotta wait 90 days.
I
So
guess,
that's why they was
yeah.
like, ma'am, we can't do anything until you miss,
Right,
until you can't make payments.
right.
So since you were caught up, I just had this conversation with someone that lost their job and they was panicking and freaking out. And I said, well, hold
Mhm,
on, wait.
mhm,
I said, they can't do nothing to you for 90 days. And I said, so we just go pray that God go answer a prayer in
mm.
90 days.
I know that's right.
And it
Yeah.
happened.
Mm.
It happened.
Did it?
But then I had another friend who she was off work for over a year.
Wow.
And it was all like, what in the world? I've never known anybody to be off work that long and steady applying for jobs and stuff like that, but it just wasn't for her.
Wow.
You don't know people's finances.
Right.
So you're getting interviews and they're not offering anything. It's like, well, I just can't take just anything just to have
Mhm.
anything. But
Mhm.
in our minds, we're like, well, anything is better than
Take it.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take it.
So, but it's like at least you had 90 days. So that's funny
I
that
guess
you
I
was being
did.
proactive, which is because you had the right mind to do so.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I need to make sure that we can live somewhere.
So tell me once you got home, because you wasn't just back to normal Crystal.
No.
You had to go through
Therapy.
therapy and all of
Mhm.
that. So when did you see so acceptance, that has to come into play. Acceptance.
Acceptance of what happened, you mean?
Yeah,
Or this
I may
whole
not be the same. This happened. I may not be the same. I may not be able to do what I do.
mhm. That
All the
acceptance,
fear that you had to come to some form of acceptance, and then had to graduate from that to
it came in stages.
okay.
And so actually I would say the first stage of acceptance came actually when I was in therapy, because once I left the hospital, I came home. My mother, who is my advocate,
Yes,
was drilling me every day, remembering phrases, remember adding up numbers, doing all kind of things,
taking care of her
taking care of her baby.
baby.
We just taking care of each other. Um, when I was in therapy, she was doing those things, and then I would go to therapy. She would take me to therapy, and in therapy, they were doing things to get me back to multitasking and doing so many things. Do you see the light over here? Do you see the light over here? What does the clock say? I mean, I literally had to learn. I had just finished my master's degree, and I was doing things like a 5-year-old all over again.
So let's go back because you just said something that made me think, maybe this because nothing was wrong with you. You had no health issues,
Mm-mm.
but you said you didn't do well in school. That was kind of stressful for you.
Mm-hmm.
Could that have been?
Could have been. That's the only thing I can attribute it to. That's what
Wow.
I attribute it to, stress of school, because I had just finished. I graduated August of 2011,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my master's in August of 2011. I had the stroke in September 2011.
Wow.
Hmm.
Everything that was happening in September.
What else happened in
Didn't you get
September?
married in September?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then your stroke, or
yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Well,
Your birthday. I mean, that's
mm-hmm.
it. That's
Right.
all that happens in September.
Um,
It's a new beginning. September is in the
That's
fall.
yeah, it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
I love the fall.
Mhm.
Did you have share about your anxiety and how you dealt with it? Did you get anxious at some point in time? Because going through therapy, you are like, okay, I got it, I almost got it, almost
Excuse
there.
me. Mhm. I think my anxiety came in when I didn't get things as fast as I used to get it,
Okay.
and so I moved fast and I got things fast when it came to work. And so in my therapy, they had to teach me how to work all over again. And when I didn't do things fast, I became defeated. And I
Mhm.
was like, I can't go back to work the way that I was before.
Let's stop. Let's stay on there because I have a client
Mm-hmm.
who had a stroke and she didn't want anybody to know.
Mm.
And she came to the salon and received her service. I knew something had happened, and she admitted to me, yeah, but she didn't want to say anything because she didn't want events of other people around her to stop
Mhm.
because, going out of town, doing this and that. So I don't want to be a burden. So yeah, it's breezy. Yes, it is. So I don't want to be a burden. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But the delay in
Was
getting help kind of, what is I want to say, stifled her recovery because she's
mhm.
still not quite
There
there.
back to where she
Yes, where
was.
she wants to be, and it's
Mhm.
very frustrating for her.
You have to get to a point where you mourn the old you and reinvent a new you. So that's what I had to get to. I had to get to a point where I had to say, okay, stop. You're not going to do the things that you used to do. I can't run up and down the steps 1,000 times like I used to
Mhm.
go put clothes in the laundry, to go, I can't do that. I have to take my time. I
Mhm.
mean, now I can run up and down the steps,
Mhm.
but in the beginning,
Mhm.
it was a struggle to say, okay, take your time, slow down. It was
Did
a
you
struggle.
did you have to do anything even after your therapy stopped? Did you have to keep doing exercises and stuff like that? Because sometimes you can get defeated and be like, you know what, I'm tired of doing this because it's
Yeah,
nothing's happening, and
yeah.
you just quit.
Hmm.
Did that ever happen to you, or after you finished therapy, you was pretty much back to being?
After I finished therapy, I was happy with the progress that I had made. So I was ready to go back to work and doing some of the things that I had done. I did take some time off. I stopped working in a sorority. I stopped, going to
So you
do
had been a
something
part of this sorority for a while.
since 2006.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I stopped doing things with the sorority, even though they didn't want me to.
Mhm.
Um, I had gone out of town a few times, but it wasn't like it was before.
Mhm.
And so
Because you had to take your
I had to
time.
take my time. And so I didn't even want to go out of town.
And
I
it's kind of like
remember
your
going out of
mind is
town.
always thinking, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Because I know with my diabetes, I'm like that.
Uh
I
huh.
don't like going out with anybody no more because I
Mm
don't want them to feel like they gotta take care of
hmm.
me. You don't
Right.
want to be the burden. So it's like, so for example, I just had dinner over my mom's house. It was her husband's birthday, my stepfather's birthday,
Mm
and she thought I was sad,
hmm. Mm.
and I wasn't sad. It's just that now that I'm on the pump, I had to enter my carbs into my pump like 10 or 20 minutes before we eat dinner.
So you calculating in
So,
your head, you
right,
doing,
they
yeah.
said 6 o'clock. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, they weren't ready at 6, so I didn't do anything then. But then I'm like, okay, they ready because I seen them taking food and putting it on the table. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, what is the meal?
Uh
What's
huh.
the
You,
menu?
yeah.
Putting it on there, and I put it in there. Still ain't ready to eat. So now
Right.
my blood sugar's dropping.
Uh huh.
My little pump is beep 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 is vibrating on me, and I'm like,
You,
okay, okay,
right.
okay. But I'm diagnosed with high blood sugar, so I never
Mm
really trip off it going
hmm.
low
Mm hmm.
because I have high blood sugar.
That's strange. But it never really goes low.
It does. It gets to like it ain't got to 57 before, but I ain't went into no coma or nothing. You see what I'm saying? All I have
Yeah.
to do is just get upset or move around, and
And
then
then
it'll come
turn it,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll come up.
Yeah.
It won't go, up to like 100 and something, but it'll just
Mm-hmm.
kind of go up for me like 80, maybe 70. So anyway, I went and got a piece of bread, and
Shot it up.
I ate the bread. Yeah.
Shot it up.
So then when I was sitting there eating, because I was so low, I'm sitting there with my pump right next to me with my phone, and I'm looking like I'm eating, and it
Mm.
came up yet. So it's like your brain is always
Yep.
focused on taking
Mm-hmm.
care of yourself, so it ain't the
Mm-hmm.
same. You're not having fun
Yeah.
because you're too busy trying to
To
stay
make sure
alive.
that you are, yeah, okay. I remember being out of town with my best friend who lives in Houston, and we act crazy together. Like you said, you know me to be crazy. When we are together, we act crazy. We sing loud, we dance crazy. And I wasn't doing any of that. And she was like, best friend, what's wrong with you? You gonna be okay? I was like, I'm all right. I just, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about, I don't want to do too much. I don't want to, because
Mhm.
the doctors let me know that even though that happened, I had a high risk of it happening again. So that was always in the back of my head.
Really?
It
So
can
you
happen
still
again.
have that risk?
The risk is always there for me and anybody else.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's there. I scared my mother in the beginning because one of the things that scared her was when she saw me, I was on the floor. And I like to lay on the floor. And when I would lie on the floor, it would send her to this place where she just didn't want to be because she was thinking I was having a stroke again.
Oh.
So she got PTSD from me
Mm.
having a stroke.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it takes a while to get back to you.
Mhm.
And sometimes I don't, even now, I don't always feel like I'm back to myself, but I refuse to let it be a crutch. So I call myself out on it when I use it as a crutch. I'm like, oh, I had a stroke. If I forget something,
Do you
oh, you had
know?
a stroke, girl. Don't worry about it. I
Don't say
do.
that.
I still do that.
Do you know if you had any TIAs before you had your stroke?
I don't know. I don't think so, but
Cause
I
see, my
don't
father would
know.
have TIAs.
Hmm.
He would have those little bitty ones where
Mm-mm.
he'd just pass out,
No.
and next thing you know, he'd come back. I want to say he had one. He had one in front of me after he had his stroke. I just happened to be over his house, and I was playing music. I was cooking dinner for him. He was sitting in the kitchen, and I'm standing over there cooking for him, and we just having a good time. And then next thing you know, he just starts sweating, and then he just kind of limp
Really?
that side, and I'm all like, "Oh my God."
I can't
And
think
I'm
of
talking to
anything
him,
like
and he came
no.
really responding. It's like he was going further and further away from me. And then finally, he used to wear this little thing that I could push the button,
Uh-huh.
and they came, and by the time they got there though, and they came right away,
Yeah.
but they don't last long. So by the time they
Right.
got there, he was fine.
Wow.
And come and find out, the insurance company doesn't pay for TIAs,
Mm. They wait until
the big
it's a
one.
full-fledged stroke.
Mm-hmm.
The big one that could potentially kill you.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So because he smokes,
Mm.
I'm always afraid that he's going to have a big one. And I think if he has another one, I don't think he would survive that one because that one was pretty bad.
Right.
Because he's not the same. I mean, he thinks he is, but he's dragging, that side. He
Mm-hmm.
broke his collarbone because he had the accident in the car when he had the stroke. So that arm, the mobility is just not there.
So
But he gets around. He
yeah.
just got to get a little stutter step. Then he gone.
And I thought that was gonna be me. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that it's not, but when I look at
Mhm.
people and I see that, I'm like, it's a reminder
Mhm.
constantly. Even now, all these years later, what is it, 13 years? Is that right?
Yeah.
13 years later?
Because we in 2024.
Yeah,
That was
13. It'll be
2011.
13 years
Mhm.
in September.
Mhm.
Even now, when I look at people, I have a neighbor that walks down the street in the morning and he walks his dog faithfully. And I'm like, man, that could be me walking my dog, just limping along. He's
Mhm.
doing it, it can be done.
Mhm.
But I did want to say this. I remember the only thing, since you brought up the TIA, the only thing I remember is before my stroke, I used to work night shift and I worked 12-hour night shift, so 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I remember getting so sleepy one night at 3 in the morning, and I was standing at what we call a crash cart, and I was documenting at the crash cart. And I remember the words floating off the paper. That was 2 days before my stroke.
Mm.
And I don't know if that has something. It was that
Mhm.
the warning, but I was also tired. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, so
Mhm.
I didn't really look at it as
Mhm.
anything.
I often wonder, do you feel it coming and just be like, no, nah.
I could see how people would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the symptoms can be really, really subtle,
Mhm.
and it's different for everybody. So who knows? I don't know, girl. I don't know.
So, how did you? I know you said you focus on God. How did you direct your thoughts to create calm for you and your nephew and your mom?
Mhm.
I know I find that if I'm going through some, because I have the more health issues than my husband just started taking high blood pressure medicine. Other
Mm.
than that, we're pretty much healthy.
Right.
That's because of he inherited it. I inherited what I have. Other
Right.
than that, we don't have anything
Thing
wrong
going
with
on.
us.
Yeah.
Um, but I noticed that if something's going on with me, if I'm distraught, then they're distraught.
Right. That's it right there.
So I'm so used to being calm,
Yes.
regardless of if I'm nervous, I'm scared, even when I'm
Yes.
trying to
Mhm.
gather myself,
Uh-huh.
you
I'm
know.
calm. Yeah. I
Hmm.
think that's how I created a calm. Is I'm a calm person even in dire situations or
Hmm.
patients are dying. I'm calm.
Hmm.
Um, a cold situation. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's training. I don't know, but
But
if
it's almost like if
anything,
you overreact and getting
I
upset,
underreact. I
you
actually
think so?
underreact. Yeah, and so I think if I was like, oh my, I can't do that. I can't do this, or if I really was working myself up, I think she would have got worked up. My nephew probably not so much because at the time he was 18. Um, but
Hmm.
I would have worked my mom up, and I didn't want to work her up
Hmm.
because I'm concerned about her
Right.
and her health.
Right. Right.
So the best way I could create calm was just to remain calm.
So how are you and your BFF when she
Mm.
asks you what's wrong with you, best
She doesn't have
friend?
to ask me anymore.
Okay, so friend, if you had to write a book tomorrow, what would it be?
Well, let me think about it.
Girl.
um, if I had to write a book tomorrow, I think I would title that book "Dumb Girls Do Smart Things."
Dumb girls do smart things. Okay,
Hmm
I'm not gonna even go there
And
with that.
okay, well, I'm only meaning I don't mean that I'm dumb. I just mean that I've done some dumb things, and
Okay,
since I've come through the other side, I've learned some things along the way.
okay,
Hmm
okay. Dumb things. Well, I must be real stupid.
You're not. We're not going there. We're not.
Okay, all right. So, closing remarks. I want to leave you with this. John 15:16 says, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit,
Mm,
fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you."
I love
I
that.
thought about that scripture, thinking about our patio conversation today.
Okay, I like that.
So
That's John what?
that's John
I've heard it.
15,
That's
16.
15,
Mhm.
16. Okay.
God chooses us for a purpose, just the way we are, not because we're worthy, but because He is.
Mm-hmm.
Our life and purpose are God's ideas, not ours,
Right.
right?
Right. Amen to that.
God's ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Our life and purpose for our life.
Mm-hmm.
When He breathed life into us, it was for a
It was
reason.
for me. I believe that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's see. I want to introduce you to something.
Okay.
This is seed paper.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take this paper. Here's a little pot with some soil,
Okay.
and it's a little heart. I want you to write on it something that you want to pray about to God,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to plant it, give it to Him, and we're
Okay.
not going to pick it back up anymore because
Okay.
it's going to grow into little wildflowers. So soon as the little seedlings come, I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you and let you see.
Ooh.
So this is how I'm going to get my flowers on my patio.
Oh, okay. Let
So
us do the work, huh?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So what you see now is herbs.
Okay.
They're all herbs, lemon, lavender, all of that. With my
Okay.
succulents.
Okay.
But my flowers are going to come from you all's prayers.
Oh, I like that.
So go ahead.
Okay.
Don't tell me.
I
And
won't.
here's your envelope and this seed paper too.
Okay.
Okay, so we got our little gardening gloves. Put it in the dirt.
I wrote a whole phrase on here, not just a word.
That's okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
I'm glad.
There you have it. God has us go through difficult seasons, not because He enjoys our pain or because He doesn't love us. The trials of difficult times or the pain and suffering heals our faith. It's a tool of sanctification, making us into better people. It's a test of faith that allows us to grow. Is our faith a factual reality or just a childish hope? If God simply took us out of these trials or brought us through these trials, we would never grow as Christians. God takes our potholes in life, our dark tunnels, our wildernesses in life, and our valleys and turns them into opportunities to reveal His glory. He gives us hope so we can pour into other empty vessels the sweet fragrance of Jesus. Thank you for watching my patio conversation at the Low-Key Out Peace. Enjoying the experience, hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification bell. And tell a friend to stay updated, okay? Thank you.